Good evening. Merry Christmas, my lovelies. I'm Lady McCreepster. If you're listening to this, I trust that you have actually been good this year and were not dragged off in chains by Krampus during the night. That, or you're a very good little escape artist. Since it's Christmas, I thought I'd treat you to 2 tales of Christmas-themed horror. Specifically, elf-themed horror. The first comes from one of my favorite no-sleep authors, Life is Strange, Me Too. And it serves more as a warning than just a story. So come, lean in closer, and we'll begin. Christmas is an altogether different sort of holiday in hell. For one, the decor leaves something to be desired. Instead of popcorn, the garlands are made from the long intestines of people who park too far away from the curb. Wrapping paper is the skin of people who honk in traffic, and the ornaments are the shrunken heads of people who are rude to their waiters and waitresses. You don't even want to know what the glitter is made of. If Satan's lack of appreciation for the visual aesthetic wasn't enough to convince you to spend your Christmas elsewhere, you should know that the time in the 2 days before Christmas is artificially dilated to make it seem like 2 years. The stress of nervous anticipation is so powerful that it causes some people to flat out drop dead. Of course, if you drop dead in hell, you go straight to super hell, the worst place in the known universe, outside of New Jersey. One advantage that Hell's Christmas has over the Earth holiday is that nobody gets trampled to death in pre-Christmas sales, owing to the fact that it's always Black Friday in Hell. At this point in the story, you may find yourself wishing I'd get to the point already, but I thought a little setting was appropriate first. You see, you need to know what Christmas is usually like in Hell to appreciate the fact that it's very, very different this year. As those who work for major retailers already know, about half of the toys that come with the stamp Made in China are actually manufactured in Hell by Elves, Hell's Elves, and the same horrible little creatures who are responsible for making cell phone screens out of the most fragile materials known to man. This year, however, the Elves are on strike, holding out for an increase to the minimum wage, which is a measly 2 human souls a day. What this means practically is that about half the world's toys are going to go unmade, and that one day when you die, your soul is very likely to be eaten by an assembly line worker in Hell. Or rather, this would be the case, except that it isn't. You see, the big bosses over at Hell's Multinational Incorporated have come up with a solution as brilliant as it is heartless. Being that the Elves themselves are rather tiny and adorable, the bosses of Hell decided to kill them and send them up to Earth as stuffed dolls. When asked who would make the toys next year, senior management indicated that it wasn't their problem and that profits this quarter were good. But the chief issue with the Elves isn't that they were slaughtered, stuffed, and sold as dolls. The chief issue is that they're not likely to stay dead. You see, with the bodies being shipped off to major retailers near you, the souls are just mucking about down in super hell. This is a problem because there is a direct portal between Earth and super hell located in the Florida Keys. When asked if they were concerned about the Elves souls returning to their bodies and enacting a mass human genocide, the bosses of Hell Multinational Incorporated once again indicated that it wasn't their problem, and that we should stop asking so many inconvenient questions that had nothing to do with profits this quarter. The last two things you should know about the Elwigs is that they vary vastly in appearance from one to the other, and that they're horribly vain little creatures. The consequence of this vanity is that they refuse to make any dolls that aren't inspired by their own cuteness. This means that Elwick corpses are virtually indistinguishable from the very many popular toys flooding retail outlets all over the United States. I can only suggest that you avoid buying any dolls over the next few weeks, and if you've already bought one, leave it in a ring of salt and next to a rubber ducky. The ring of salt will counteract the demonic energy. As for the rubber ducky, well, I think that's self-explanatory. I'm afraid I've got to get back to work now, but I hope my warning reaches you. I'm rather fond of humans and don't wish to see them exterminated by a race of evil dolls. Anyhow, goodbye and good luck. Oh, and Merry Christmas. Oh dear. You might want to keep an eye on that elf on your shelf. The second tale seems like it's possibly about an Elwick too. These stories are making me rethink how cute these little helpers are. Today is 2 days away from the anniversary of my niece's death. No one knows how she died except for her mother, who passed away recently, and me. I do not know who to tell, but I need to tell someone. No one would believe me anyway. They'd lock me up like they locked up my sister. I wouldn't blame them. I hardly believe what happened myself. Bethany was going to be 10 years old the day after Christmas, the year she died. She still believed in Santa. I thought she was too old for that shit, but her parents thought it was cute. They did everything they could to keep her from realizing it was just a lie. Bethany loved Christmas and Santa and elves and all that. She used to tell me about an elf that would hide in a house. I just thought her parents must have been hiding a toy elf or something, but I asked them about it and they said they didn't have any elf dolls. I thought they were joking. Bethany's stories about the elf started getting stranger. She told me that one night she woke up to the elf sitting on the dollhouse next to her bed, watching her with its empty glass eyes. After that night, she said the elf turned bad. She said it would move around her room, making strange noises at night, and she told me if she tried to get out of bed, the elf would run towards her and bite and claw at her feet and ankles. The elf, she said, had too many teeth, which were long and thin, but not pointed. She said its nails were long and sharp like claws. Of course, I didn't believe her, but then she showed me the scars and new bite marks. The bite marks were normal human-sized, but very deep and definitely with more teeth marks. That's when I started to worry. I didn't believe in the elf at that point. I thought maybe she was doing it to herself. I thought she might have been seriously mentally ill. I wish I was right. I told my sister my concerns about her daughter. She was worried too, so she found a psychiatrist for her. I thought that would help Bethany. But as Christmas came nearer, she seemed to get worse. I was staying over at my sister's house for Christmas Eve, and Bethany asked me to sleep in her room to protect her from the elf. I said yes. I thought that it was a good idea so I could figure out what was going on with her. Maybe she was biting her own ankles in her sleep. That night, Bethany woke me up and asked if I could get her some water. She didn't want to get up because she was afraid the elf would attack her. I didn't want to leave the poor girl in there alone, so I told her she had to come with me. She didn't want to come, but I wouldn't let her stay. I should have listened. Oh, God. Maybe she would still be alive if I had listened. It's my fault she's dead. When we got by the door, I saw it. The elf was tall with strange teeth and blank white eyes. I thought I was imagining it, so I turned on the light, but it didn't go away. I know I should have tried to leave, but instead, I tried to take a picture of it. As soon as I did, it started to run at us so fast, I could barely see it. Everything happened so fast. Bethany, who had been standing so still, pushed me out of the room so hard that I fell to the floor. The door slammed shut. All I could hear was a voice screeching so loudly I could hardly hear Bethany's screams. It sounded like the voice was saying "Merry Christmas," but it wasn't pronounced right. It sounded like "Merry Chirtmas." Anyway, I was trying to get back in the room, but the door was locked. I tried to kick it down, but I wasn't strong enough. I ran into the kitchen to find something to break the door as I called the police. They thought it was a joke. I don't understand how they didn't hear the screaming. How did her parents not wake up? I found a brick and decided that it was good enough to make a hole in the door or something. Suddenly, I heard a ripping sound, and the screams and screeches stopped. I cautiously opened the door, which somehow unlocked, and the walls, and the bed, and all her toys and furniture were bright red, soaked in Bethany's blood. On the floor, the elf was hovering over Bethany's corpse. It was split in half vertically, and the elf was wearing her intestines around its neck and eating them. I screamed louder than I ever screamed before. Bethany's mother finally came out of her room and saw what had happened. She didn't even make a sound. She just stared at the horrifying scene. We closed the door and put things in front of it so it wouldn't open. We went into the living room to wait for the police. When the police finally arrived, they questioned us and her husband, who hadn't heard a thing. I couldn't say anything. It was like a dream, so unreal. I just sat there staring into space. The only one who told the police what happened was my sister. The police removed the barricade from the front door of Bethany's room, but when they opened the door, nothing was inside. The blood was gone. The elf, Bethany, everything. The room looked completely normal. Besides snow blowing in from the window, everything was gone. Like magic. The police started a search party. They thought she ran away. After everyone left, I stood in her room alone and cried. I heard the sound of bells, and then I heard the elf whispering, "Merry Christmas," and I ran out of there. It's been a year now since Bethany's death. After Bethany died, my sister's mental health began to deteriorate. She boarded up the doors and windows of Bethany's old room. She never slept anymore. We found her trying to cut her stomach open several times, and we had to have her live in a mental hospital, where she ended up killing herself by making a noose out of her bedsheets. Now, I am the only one who knows what happened. Everyone else still thinks she's missing. I don't go near that house anymore, and I can't bring myself to talk to Bethany's father. But no matter what I do to forget about what happened, I can't. Sometimes I still hear the elf's voice at night, and I'm afraid it's going to kill me next. It's almost Christmas. Demon spawn seem tame now in comparison to these elves. If you enjoyed these tales, do give this video a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Hit that subscribe button too, as a Christmas gift to me. And remember to click on that bell icon as well to be notified of new videos I post. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm Lady McCreepster on Facebook. A direct link to my page is in the description below. Thank you so much for visiting me this Christmas Day, my dears. I hope your festivities are going as planned and that you encounter no demon elves. Unless you want to, of course. Till next time, sweet dreams, my dears. Oh, a Merry Christmas.